Most of the firmware upgrades we've been waiting for the Sony FX3 and the Sony FX30 are finally here. I'm currently shooting in DCI-4K on the Sony FX3 and FX30 in true 24p, not 23.97 frames per second, true 24p. This latest firmware upgrade brings us a bunch of cool features that I'll run you through right now. I want to shoot this video at 24 frames per second in DCI 4K because this is one of the biggest complaints people had about the FX3 and FX30 not being a true cine camera. I'm one of those people. I always saw this as a great content creator's camera over anything cine. The first update is of course DCI 4K at 24 frames per second, which gives us that 17:9 aspect ratio with a resolution of 4096 pixels by 2160. This aspect ratio is really handy for anything short film related where I would usually have to fake the aspect ratio in post-production. It's true, but I've done it before. You need to be shooting in the log shooting mode on either the FX3 or FX30 to access this in the movie shooting options. Secondly, focus breathing compensation is now added. This is a lifesaver for anyone who pays a premium for Sony's G Master lenses only to be disappointed with the amount of focus breathing some of those lenses exhibit. This allows the camera to crop in without losing resolution and to compensate for the movement of the frame. Now this has always been available on the FX30, but it's just come to the FX3. So if you update your FX3, you'll now have it on par with the FX30. Thirdly, we now have anamorphic support. The FX3 and FX30 can support a de-squeezed image on screen like the Lumix GH6 or S5 Mark II. This is only a preview on the screen and you'll still need to de-squeeze it in post. But this is going to make the entire workflow a lot more appealing. I would never have shot on any of my Sony cameras shooting anamorphic. The overall experience just wasn't very pleasing. So this update is big if you plan on shooting with anamorphic lenses and you don't already have an external monitor sorted out. The next update is the ability to switch to S and Q mode by mapping it to a custom key on the camera. Switching modes has always been a bit of a pain on the FX series due to having no top dial. That's why I've always liked the A7S III, it just makes switching a whole lot easier. This new feature really simplifies the process and it's a welcomed addition. This update also ties into the new Creators App mobile application that replaces the Imaging Edge mobile app. The previous mobile app was so bad that I never used it after trying it a couple of times. It was just terrible. So this is another welcomed addition. The app allows you to transfer images to your smartphone or shoot remotely and control various features of the camera. The next update in this rollout is the ability to add long file name formats for our clips. This option will appeal to folks shooting in a scenario where keeping track of the file names is really important. I have my cameras write the files with the camera model number so I know which card I'm taking out of which camera in editing, but now with the long file format you can add more information. Sony have also listed that this also fixes a few stability issues with both of the cameras, so if you've ever experienced bugs or whatever the case may be, hopefully these get ironed out. While this is an awesome upgrade, there's still two things missing I would love to see pushed through in the near future. The first of which is open gate or full sensor readout recording. This is a really handy feature for cropping in different aspect ratios in post. This means you could take a 16:9 or 17:9 aspect ratio out of that full sensor readout, or if you want to turn that video into something vertical, you can do that in post. Secondly, there's still no shutter angle update. Setting the shutter angle to 180 degrees ensures you have the correct shutter speed whenever you change frame rates. Hopefully at least one of these show up in the near future, but you know what? I'm shocked. Well done, Sony. Thank you for updating the Sony FX3 and keeping it on par with the Sony FX30, which is less expensive. The last thing I'm going to add is I would love to see some of these updates go through to this guy over here, the Sony A7S III. While I'm sure the cine options won't be available, I would love to see lens breathing compensation. And a big shout out to guys like Terry Warfield and Gerald Undone for maybe encouraging Sony to get their act together with some firmware updates. So thank you. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon. See ya.